Okay, hey everyone, Daryl here from DH Garden Center. So again, we're just gonna be going through a lot of our older shrubs here and showing you guys some of the pruning that I do through the winter time, and some of the cleanup. So all right, let's get started. And then as for my apple trees, I'm not going to do a whole lot of pruning on these just yet because they are still fairly young, and I kind of want to see what shape I want to go with as they get older. But any of the diebacks, you can see this here. You can come closer. You can see here it's actually black all the way down to about here, and that's some of the dieback winter damage. So again, with this one, I'm going to go below where that the dead mark is. You can see this branch is still kind of still fresh, but that'll probably die off next year because it's already spreading that far down. So you want to go further down to avoid any of that spreading into the old growth. So as you can see, I have about that much space there. So I'll probably cut right above here on an angle, get rid of that top. Same as this one, you can see it's black. So I'm going to go down farther to where I have some good green growth and prune off that. And it looks like the rest of it, I mean, this one's got, yeah, that one's got the same thing. It's already going back down. So I'm going to go further down. So this is just kind of like a quick pruning for the winter time. Summertime, I'll probably go through and do a summer pruning. And the summer pruning really is just to kind of prune off a lot of your growth, like a lot of the long growth you get in the summertime. You know, if you get about a foot of growth, you can cut that back about half around July or so, and that just stops the plant from getting really big, but also helps to start producing some of your flowering buds. So yeah, that's my apple trees. This one again, probably leave that for now. That one looks sort of okay. Prune off the tip of that one. These look all right. All right. So yeah, I got a few examples there on what you should be doing for the winter time. And as for anything else, like your strawberries, your smaller kind of fruit, again, you can go in here and you can start cleaning up all these at this stage too. Just go in there, prune off all the old stems, any of the old growth, because again, if you keep too much of the stuff in there, you don't get a whole lot of airflow going on, and it can create a lot of problems for the plant, powdery mildew, things like that. So once you're pretty much done, what you'll be looking at is this small amount of growth at the center that the plant will hold on to for the winter time. And then in the springtime, that'll all flush out, and this pot will fill out again, just like it did last year with the strawberries. So strawberries are really easy. You're just cutting off any old stems, older leaves from the following year, and only keeping your green growth. So I hope that helps for a lot of the pruning. So yeah, these guys again, yeah, like I said, you just go through and clean up all this old stuff, and once it's done, it'll just be the center growth there. These guys do take a little bit of time, so I'm just kind of giving you a quick example of what it'll look like once I'm done. Just because I want to kind of give you an idea of how I prune a lot of the different plants here. And then as we go into the herbs are a little bit different. Rosemary, thyme, and sage, I tend to cut them down fairly hard in the spring. So right now I'm still going to wait because I'll probably end up using some of this, some of the thyme here for some of our dinners. But yeah, when you do cut these guys back, you can normally see at the base here, you get all these new little shoots coming up at the bottom here. If you don't cut them back, like sage, thyme, and rosemary back hard, they tend to get woody stalks on the bottom, and then you'll get green growth on the top, and basically like a tumbleweed, basically, dead brush at the bottom. So every year I go through and I cut them back about here, and then the bottom flushes out again, and I get a whole new growth on top. Same thing with your rosemary. I've already started with this one. I'm going to cut this one back a little bit further in about a couple weeks here to get that to flush out. And then sage, same idea. As you can see, sage tends to get a little bit green on top and nothing on the bottom. So to avoid that, again, you want to go down and you want to cut down pretty hard. Usually around, I do like first week of March, so right before the plant's ready to grow. And then you'll get a whole bunch of shoots coming from the bottom again, and then the whole bottom will fill out the same as your sage and your thyme bushes. And you can kind of see it already on this one here. You can already see the new growth starting at the bottom here. And that's where I want all the energy to focus, is down here and not at the top, because I really don't want to be looking at a tumbleweed sage bush. So that's pretty much it for most of the fruiting shrubs. A lot of your shrubs, you know, like your rose bushes, things like that. These guys, I normally wait until kind of like mid to late February to prune a lot of these back. But for example, with these guys here, again, cut off all your old stems, dead branches. You don't want these. And then for your main cane here, with roses, you normally want to cut down to the second leaf bud, where you can see here, you can see these lines. And there's a line on both sides, one on that side, one on this side, and they continue back and forth all the way up. And what you're looking at to do is cut back to the second bud of the growth that you had from last year. Because if you cut too far into the cane here, it's a possibility you won't get any flowers for the following year. So you don't want to cut too far, because then you'll be looking at green growth for a year, and then you have to wait for the second year. So this one here, this was my original stem here. So what I do every year, I cut these two branches down, again, like I said, where that main leaf bud was. So there's a marking here at the bottom, there's a marking there, there's a marking on this side. So again, if you start cutting all the way up here, a lot of people are afraid to cut too far with roses, but if you cut up here, then you're gonna get growth from here next year, and this will always become bare at the bottom. So the whole point of pruning back some of your shrubs, if you want to keep them short, is to take them back to a good bud. So like I said, I would cut back to about here. I'm not going to cut now because it's a little bit, it's still mid-January, so I'm going to wait, but I would cut about right here where the leaf is on an angle, and then my bud will come out from here in the spring. Same on this side, you can see there's a line there, a line on this side, a line on this side. So I would cut down to either the first one here or the second leaf bud there, which is about right here. I would cut, and then I would have this little bit of growth here, and then it'll sprout from there in the spring. I could go down to this line here, and I should still get a few flowers this year, because over the years I've been trying to cut this shrub back further, because I don't want 6 or 7 foot of growth in the summertime. So I'm trying to contain the height. So I'm going to decide in the next month or two whether I'm going to cut just up here, or I'm going to go down here and cut here. But when we do, we'll do another video and show you how we prune the roses. And for the roses, for pruning in the summertime, to get them to rebloom, you always want to cut down to where you see a 5-petal branch. So you can see these are all 3 petals, because this was the end of the year last year, but these only got 3 petals or 4 petals. So when you prune them to get more flowers, actually this is a good example here. So this one would have had 5 petals. There's one fell off. There's 2 petals there, 2 petals there, and 1 petal here. So you go all the way down to where you see a 5-petal branch, and you cut above that. If you cut above a leaf that has or a branch that only has 3 leaves, that doesn't flower there. So then you're going to have to go down further to where you see a 5-petal a leaf node, and prune above that, which will give you your next new flower bud will come from up there. It's hard to kind of show you now because we're late winter time. We'll be doing videos more in the summertime as they're flowering, so I can give you a better example where to prune. But yeah, this guy I'll be waiting. This is my peach tree. It's the same variety. These are the dwarf peaches. You can see this one's got a lot of buds on it. So this one, again, I'll keep for now as is. I'll just cut off any of the dead stuff, and I'll keep where the buds are, see what I got in the spring, and then I'll cut off anything else later on that basically doesn't produce any growth in the summertime. And then as for my two plum trees, these guys have definitely went through some damage, and unfortunately they've rooted into the ground a few times. I had to rip them out of the ground in these containers, so they've gone through some shock over the years. Again, go through, cut off any disease stuff. These guys are quite clear that they're dead. So these guys, I'm gonna cut out all these old branches here. And then with most plum trees, especially in Vancouver, they get these like the black knots. There's an example there. And these will kill your tree if you let them take over. Unfortunately, there's not much you can really do in Vancouver about avoiding this on peach tree or on plum trees. Sorry, and pears. So best thing to do to try to contain some of this, I go down and I cut down as far as I can to avoid this spreading down the tree. You can see right here, it's probably already, you know, made its way down about halfway. So I'm going to go down and cut down on one of these further buds here. Again, a little bit later on because I don't want too much rain getting in there and causing more damage. So again, I'll do a video on this one later on. I can see a lot of these branches here, they did not make it over the winter time. The buds are coming out here, but not further down. So this tree will be cut back pretty hard this coming spring, possibly repotting or transplanting it into one of our clients' yards to give the tree a better chance of growth. All right, so hope you liked the video. Subscribe and hit the thumbs up, and we'll see you again on the new video. Have a good day.